So talk to me about the ways that we can recognize when the subconscious is doing the work of trying to protect us and sabotaging what we are trying to do.
One of the ways that we could see that the fear or the sabotage of success has come in is by seeing that you were just simply thrown off course. So for a woman that has always had the identity of, I don't deserve to be healthy, I don't deserve to be fit, because perhaps she was made fun of a lot, and that's her reality growing up. She was bullied a lot, perhaps for her weight. When she starts going to the gym and starts seeing results, there will be this switch that if we're careful, we can almost notice, almost like a switch that kicks on that says, oh, don't go to the gym today. You've been so good. It almost feels like a very seductive voice.
True.
And that's the sabotage kicking in. That's saying, okay, you already have stepped outside of your identity for too long, because oftentimes we just do the physical work in changing our circumstance. We never look at our beliefs. Very few people do, right? So she'll say, okay, that's true. I have been very good. And then over time, different things will happen that will kind of make her unaware that she's shifting back to her older patterns. She'll start perhaps even more subconscious, sneaky things, like she might start dating a guy that keeps her so obsessed with him, waiting for his phone calls, wondering if he's cheating on me. All of that just to restore her identity as someone that feels out of control and needs to use food as a source of comfort. So she'll either get in a toxic relationship, or she'll say, oh, you know what? Like, I'm doing so good at work. Let me work harder because I know I can get that promotion that's coming up. So she'll start becoming a workaholic, something like that. But we'll notice whatever the first thing that the brain is protecting her from, which is getting to her ideal weight, what is consciously her ideal weight, the brain will create all of these defense mechanisms to try to distract her from that. So she goes back to either the same weight that she was or close to that weight again. And then the ego is happy. And that's when she starts noticing again, wow, now my new clothes that I bought after I lost weight are not fitting me anymore. I'm back to my old weight. So then she feels bad about herself. And that's very comforting to the ego, because it's like, okay, we're back to what we know. Great.
With that in mind, how do you help your clients getting out of this pattern? What's the process? Is that something that takes weeks, months, years, or it can happen even in one session?
So it can happen in one session if the belief that they formed wasn't due to something very, very traumatic or didn't have multiple layers. So it might be just someone that overate a little and then, growing up, and their identity might be someone that eats past their level of comfort. And then we can just kind of recognize that, okay, what feeling do you feel in your body when you've eaten past the level of comfort? Can you remember the last time? Okay, stay in that moment while we debunk some belief systems. What will you feel when you're full? Okay, is it uncomfortable? Is there a certain addictive quality to this discomfort? Is your mind running a little bit slower and you're able to not think about things that you normally, would be very upset by? So is this helping you kind of cope with some other stress? Okay, so we just kind of keep getting answers from the brain until something feels right and the client is like, oh my God, Samy, that is it. Exactly. And we may have to go through, sometimes 30, 40 of those. But if we're doing enough sensing work, we'll get the answer. Now, the tricky part becomes when it's not just one or two sessions, is if there were multiple reasons somebody's overeating. For example, there might be clients who had and this is very sad what I'm about to say, but if somebody had, for instance, a borderline mother or a mother that couldn't share attention with anyone else, they will find that the only way the mom was happy is when they were overweight. Because then, the mom wasn't mean to them. Like when they were overeating, the mom was very loving towards them. When they felt out of control, the mom rewarded them by saying, oh, my baby, or that's the only way they had connection or something like that, or they bonded over food, or they never saw their father except at meal times. Then it's going to take me a little bit longer because I have to unlink in their mind the feeling of comfort and a feeling of spending time with their dad and food. So in imagery and inner child work, I will bring in their father in all sorts of healthy environments. I will have them picture them going running with their dad and picking out like really healthy meals and eating vegan food together. And also like perhaps create an imagery of their dad pushing away like a plate of food that's unhealthy and saying, hey, what do you say? You and I make our own meal tonight. And eventually, over several exposures to this kind of work, the client's mind will become very primed to feel like, no, I don't relate connection anymore to unhealthy food, but I do feel connected with my dad in these images with healthy food. And their mind will naturally gravitate to that. So that's what we want to create more through hypnosis, is whatever caused the original belief, we want to replace that with these new imageries, these new belief systems. And eventually the mind gets confused between what really happened and what didn't. Intellectually, we'll always know. But the subconscious is like, okay, this new identity that we're creating in our minds feels pretty comfortable, feels pretty familiar. Okay, I'm willing to give it a try. That's where we know we have success. So it's very multi-layered.
Right. So with hypnotherapy, you're not ending or getting rid of belief systems. In a way, you're replacing them. So the person has something else to operate from.
Yes. So even if it's a neutralization of the present belief, it's still a new belief system. I'm not supposed to have money. If we change that into that's not true, or, I am supposed to have money, we're replacing that with a different one. So even neutralizing a belief would be a replacement.